So this is how most romance scams start, you know? They begin with a flood of compliments, a flood of nice words, promises of love, and then they turn into the person quickly asking for money. And that person asking for money is not a real person. It's just someone hiding behind a fake profile with a fake picture. These romance scams have honestly been increasing so much over the years. There has been, for some reason, I don't know why, but I love watching these videos. I love watching, not even just watching videos, but like understanding and like getting more context on romance scams. I just find it so interesting. So because it's a very, very complex thing. Like, it's not just catfishing, like your standard catfishing. It involves like a lot of emotional manipulation and twisting stories, lies. It requires a lot of coordination. Like, a lot of the time they have money mules, and they also have like assistants, like different accounts. It's very detailed. But in this video, we're going to be watching a documentary about how these scams work. Well, not how they work, just we're going to be looking at a story about this woman who met this guy on a dating site for older people, and he told her, the fake account told her he was 62 and she was 83, but he said something like age is nothing but a number. And this lady kind of saw some red flags, like this man had an accent, she couldn't really understand him, but she just kind of, I guess, ignored them, and they kept texting and they exchanged a lot of personal stuff, messages, and she got scammed. I just think this is an interesting story. Well, I think a lot of romance scams have a very interesting storyline, so let's watch one today and see what happened to this lady. Okay.
I got scammed big time, and it hurts. It hurts financially.
So it hurts her. This is 4 seconds in that she got scammed, as you can see, because a lot of these people are like, oh, this is my loved one, but it's not their loved one because it's a scammer, but they don't know that. It is sad, but I also think it's good to spread awareness about.
Financially, and hurts emotionally.
A Westfield woman says it wasn't love, it was a perfect illusion. That illusion turned out to be a sophisticated scam. Tonight she's sharing her story in the hopes of protecting.
Okay, so already I kind of feel like you shouldn't be looking for love. Like, that's the main thing that will make you fall into a romance scam, because you are like, oh, I need to look for someone. No, you don't. Let it come to you. And with AI, I can only imagine it's worse, which I have seen some videos like with cases where the scam, like the profile, was an AI picture.
Protecting others. Valentine's Day is just 2 weeks away. WRTV Investigates Kara Kinney is digging into why romance scams are now on the rise. It's a story you need to share with anyone looking for love.
Like, this is sad, especially because a lot of elderly people are feeling lonely. Because I think this generation, I guess, has like the highest amount of elderly people, because we just have like the highest population. So obviously there's just I think there needs to be better stuff for like elderly people, because like better ways that they can go and like socialize and stuff, because I think they're just like, a lot of them are trapped indoors.
Romance scams are skyrocketing. Complaints grew 25% from 2019 to 2021, according to the FBI. A Westfield woman says money isn't the only thing she lost.
Pat Bright Cruz became a widow in 2020.
And I was very lonely after that.
Using a dating website, the Westfield woman met her match, a man named Lewis.
And he told me his age. He was 62, and I told him I was 83 at the time. And he says, oh, age is just a number. I don't care.
Pat says Lewis had an...
Okay, now I'm thinking, for a person that's not in that age range, like, I don't know, I feel like if someone is 82 and someone is 60 something, you're like, okay, like that seems like kind of compatible. I don't know if I'm dumb, but it's weird, because if someone is like 60 and someone's 40, then you're like, that's kind of a big gap.
Accent that made it hard to understand him on the phone.
Interesting.
He encouraged Pat to text with him away from the dating website. They texted a lot, exchanging hundreds of intimate messages for months, like this one.
Okay, I actually haven't watched this video. Okay, the part you saw at the beginning, I've already planned. like the text messages, and I had no idea that this scammer was going to say my queen. But if you know about these scammers and you watch a lot of these videos, then you know that this scammer always say my queen, my queen, my queen. That's why I said that. Or that's why I put that. But I didn't actually know the scammer was going to say my queen.
Good morning, my queen. I hope you had enough rest last night. I pray for blessings and grace for both of us. I love you.
Oh my days. Why did the reporter just kiss in my ear? Please, I don't want to hear that.
And it got extremely romantic. And he says, can't wait to be with you. And I mean, he just drew me in. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with him.
In those texts, Lewis sent pictures, supposedly of himself.
And he asked me to send me pictures, you know. He says, you're absolutely gorgeous.
Pat said,
What is this editing? It's giving my ironic editing. This is not ironic. This is serious.
Get your priorities right.
for a construction company in Montreal and made plans to visit, even sending her a picture of his plane ticket.
And he says, well,
Sorry, but that looks Photoshop. Does anyone think that looks real?
probably spend 24 hours in bed. I said, now let me know when you arrive so I can come pick you up. And he never did.
And he never did, but he had a ticket booked. Okay, that's how these scammers are, so I'm not gonna blame this lady.
Over the course of 6 months, Lewis convinced Pat to send him 5 checks to help with his business. Money she thought was going to her lover, instead pocketed by scammers.
$98,547.
Whoa, that's a lot. That is so much, and I actually feel sorry for this lady, because she might even have grandkids and children, which that could have even went towards them, but it went to a scammer.
What do you think when you see that total?
Makes me ill. I want to throw up that I was that vulnerable.
Pat became suspicious when Lewis sent her this contract asking her for $500,000 to invest in his business. It listed a Fort Wayne address, but when Pat checked it out in person, it was bogus.
Oh, let me guess, she was on an oil rig as well. What they all say. They're on an oil rig, they're in the army, or they're an investor.
And then he stopped calling, he stopped texting. After about 30 days when he realized I didn't have any more money.
What was this like emotionally?
I was heartbroken.
That's actually very sad. Imagine you trying to help someone, and then when they find out you have no money because you've sent them all your money, they literally just go cold turkey. Like, especially after this woman said that she was so lonely.
Romance scams are big business for criminals. They prey on your heartstrings. Nationwide, they cost Americans nearly $1 billion in 2021.
There's a significant increase in romance scams.
Scott Barnhart is the director of
I know this is directly about Americans, but this actually affects the world.
Consumer Protection at the Indiana Attorney General's office.
Why not catch these guys?
Well, these are very sophisticated operations. A lot of this is offshore. It's very difficult for us to pursue these individuals.
It's not easy to catch them because they cover their tracks really well by asking for stuff like gift cards, wire transfers, crypto, like transferring money through crypto, even sending money in a box.
In foreign entities in foreign countries, they focus on getting the money here, but once it gets offshore, it is very difficult for us to track it and trace it and try to catch the bad guys.
Barnhart says Pat missed common red flags, including encouraging you to communicate off the dating site, asking you to invest in their business, and not wanting to meet in person, instead relying on photos.
Where are those pictures coming from?
There are millions of images online.
Okay, so I don't think it's fair to be like, oh, they wanted you to talk off the dating site. I feel like many people do that. But if they're saying something sketchy that has like no traces, like they're saying Google Chat or something, that's the red flag.
And that scammers have access to and can pull off of social media platforms.
WRTV Investigates used reverse imaging on the photos Lewis sent to Pat, and we couldn't find anything.
Why are these scams so lucrative?
So when you think about phishing scams, when you think about other scams, it's one hit.
I guarantee you there is a match to that photo. They just are not able to find it, but there is, I bet you, because these scammers this is not them, okay? That picture is not of one of them. Maybe it's from a video, because sometimes if someone screenshots like a video, you can't really trace the photo back.
In and out. These are so lucrative because people convince themselves, well, this person has been communicating with me for months. There's no way that this is a scam.
Okay, I'm a bit confused because just because someone communicates with you for months doesn't mean they're not scamming you.
A family member filed complaints on Pat's behalf with Westfield Police and the FBI.
Looking back at everything and knowing what you know now, how does that make you feel?
Makes me feel horrible, makes me feel dirty, makes me feel stupid.
Pat isn't confident she'll get her money back, but she is confident about one thing.
Do you think you'll find love again?
Oh yeah, but not that way. I'll never be scammed again.
You can protect yourself by never sending money to someone you've never met in person. Cut off contact if they ask for your personal information, like your credit card or bank account numbers. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
So this woman spent 98k on this scam. Well, she didn't spend, but she lost 98k in this scam. This is someone's grandma. Like, what can we learn? We can learn to be vigilant and be careful. And also, I was thinking that there are different stages of scams. There's also obviously different types of scams that these scammers have and use, but I wanted to go through the different stages. Okay, so I made this diagram. Okay, no, I just made this diagram so that it's easy to convey. So first we have the hook stage, where basically your bait trying to catch you, so they're just gonna like go seeking for anyone that will catch onto the hook. Then we have the grooming stage, which is when they build your trust. Within these there is of course red flag, so they're just gonna be acting perfect and stuff like that, but that's the red flag. And then also they will be avoiding video calls and meetings, and then they will run into a sudden incident where they need your money and your gift cards and your crypto to get them out of. If someone's asking for money and they've never met you, that's a red flag. Because, well, sometimes it's not, but to be safe and you've never video called and you just don't know this person that well and they're moving quite fast with it. The second to last stage is when they start getting your money. They start trying to get as much as possible until you're basically dry with money. When you're dry from money and you don't have any more money to send, that is when the last stage starts and they will vanish. They will ghost you. You were nothing, you were just a bank to them to get as much money as possible. But at that point it's kind of too late, because then you realize you're in a scam. If you find out in any of the earlier stages, that's obviously the best, but that doesn't always happen. But yeah, that is the end of this video. Be aware, be safe. To be honest, a lot of people see these scams and just are like, person is dumb. I could never fall for that. Anyone can be scammed, so don't think you can't be scammed. It's best to get educated and to know of the signs. I mean, or if you're like me and you just watch it in your free time because it's interesting. And because I like scams, there probably will be more videos on scams. Thanks for watching.